How's it going, everybody? Welcome to my Week 11 prediction show. Well, we had another crazy week in the NFL where we have no idea what's going on. It's complete chaos. I don't know who's good. I don't know who's bad because the good teams come out and play like crap and the bad teams come out and play good. I am unsure of anything. Actually, that's not true. I'm sure of one thing, and that's Jonathan Taylor being the MVP. And the only guy close to him is Matthew Stafford. So we're sure of one thing. My record for this past week was an abysmal 7-7, not great, and which brings my overall record for the season to 97-51. So unfortunately, I was hoping to hit 100 games right on the season, but unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait till this week. Couple of upsets I want to mention. The Finns taking on the Bills in Miami. I don't know what's going on with the Dolphins. They come out and play well, then they look like crap. They come out and play well, then they look like crap. It went so well for the Dolphins that Mike McDaniel was driving around to local bars where Bills fans hang out in Miami and just trolling them. I love that. I love it. I think it's great. And the Saints over the Panthers, I would consider an upset. I know it's a divisional matchup, but with the way the Saints have been looking all season, getting a win over Carolina is good. And, of course, looking into teams at a bye week, we have two teams on bye, the Colts and the Saints. So much needed rest for those guys. Of course, the Colts coming back from an international game. Daniel Jones hopefully getting his mouth fixed. He was all bloody. And the Saints, of course, being able to celebrate that win going into the bye week. And still probably having no idea what's going on with them either. Let's get right into it. So tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football, the Jets will be taking on the New England Patriots. The Patriots will be wearing their rivalry uniforms. Of course, the rivalry uniforms, something that the NFL rolled out this year. In my opinion, all of them so far have all looked great. The Rams are also going to be wearing their rivalry uniforms, which look, they look really, really good. Anyways, the Jets are on a winning streak. Good for you guys. That's awesome. And somehow they beat the Browns with Justin Fields only having 54 passing yards. That's right. Justin Fields, 6 of 11, 54 passing yards. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times. Breece Hall led the team in rushing yards with 21 attempts for 83 yards. He also led the team in receiving yards with 1 reception for 42 yards. On the defensive side of the ball, McDonald, he had 4 sacks, 4 out of the 6 on the day for the Jets. And then, of course, the main reason why the Jets run, I'm going to butcher this name, so I apologize ahead of time. Kene Nwangwu. He had a kickoff return touchdown. I'm so sorry I butchered that name. Good job, Kene. And then also Isaiah Williams had a punt return touchdown. So 2 special teams touchdowns for the Jets, pushing them over the Browns on Sunday. They're going to have a tough matchup, tough divisional matchup in Foxborough against the 8-2 Patriots, who are coming off a win over the Buccaneers. Drake May, 16 of 31, 270 yards, 2 tutties, and 1 interception. Henderson led the team in rushing on 14 attempts for 147 yards and 2 tutties. Hollins, he led the team in receiving. He had 6 receptions for 106 yards. Williams also had 1 reception, 72 yards and a tutty. And Stephon Diggs, 5 receptions, 46 yards, and 1 tutty. It is the Patriots' 7th straight win. So if we need any more evidence that the evil empire in Foxborough has risen again, Although I don't think you can necessarily call it the evil empire. It's not Tom Brady or Bill Belichick or Julian Edelman or Gronk or all the other guys who ruined the NFL for 20 years. I like this Patriots team. I think Drake May is a very, very good quarterback. You could have him in the MVP conversation. Mike Vrabel is doing an excellent job with this team. The defense is good. The offense is good. And this Patriots team, they're giving the Bills a run for the money in the AFC East. Of course, the Bills are, I think, a whole game and a half behind the Patriots now. An interesting thing, over the last 19 matchups between the Jets and the Patriots are 16-3. Of course, a lot of that is, Tom Brady. But I'm going to roll with the Pats here. I think the Pats are just much better, and I think the Jets, even getting that win last week, I'm just not convinced they're going to be able to take down what is now a juggernaut in the AFC in the Patriots. So I'm going to roll with the Patriots to get the win on Thursday Night Football. Then Sunday morning, we start our day in Madrid, Spain, with the Commies taking on the Dolphins. The Commies are coming off a blowout loss at home against the Blue Kitties. Marcus Mariota still starting over in replacing Jaden Daniels, who's who's trying to heal from an injury right now. He didn't look too bad, but he didn't look great either. He was 16 of 22, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns. Krosky Merritt, he led the team in rushing yards with only 30. McNichols, he also had 5 attempts for 25 yards on the ground. Rodriguez, he had 16 yards and a touchdown. Burks had 3 receptions, 58 yards. Debo had a tutty. Jaden Daniels didn't even make the trip to Madrid earlier this week, so of course we know he's still out with that dislocated elbow. So hopefully, still praying for him and hoping he comes back as soon as possible, because the Commies need him. They're going to be taking on a Dolphins team who's riding high right now. They just took down the Bills. Their first win against the Bills, it snaps a 7-game losing streak against Buffalo. Tua came out swinging 15 of 21, 173 yards, 2 tutties. He did have 2 interceptions, which kind of seemed like it would keep Buffalo in it just a little bit. He wasn't sacked at all. Devin Achane, 22 attempts, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, so he's still probably the most vital piece in that Dolphins offense. And Jalen Waddle led the team in receiving, 5 receptions, 84 yards, and a tutty. Also, Washington also had himself a tutty. 3 turnovers for the Dolphins. Of course, a big one in the end zone when the Bills were trying to mount a comeback late in that game. This was kind of a coin flip for me. Again, I said earlier, I'm not too convinced on the Finns right now. They come out looking good, and then the very next week they're the complete opposite. But I have less faith in the Commies right now. I think the Commies, they're too beat up. I just don't think Mariota can get it done. So I am going to actually go with the Finns here to get the win in Madrid. I'm not saying the Dolphins have to come out and look spectacular. I think they need to come out and just be average. Just be average. And I think the Finns will get the win in Madrid. All right, then we have the Panthers taking on the Falcons. The Panthers coming off a tough loss to the Saints. Panthers riding high if they're taking down the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. They did not look good against their divisional rival, falling 17-7. Bryce Young, he was 17 of 28, 124 yards, no touchdowns, one pick. He fumbled once and he was sacked twice. Rico Dowdle, the Saints figured it out. Hold Rico Dowdle, and you can beat him. He ran for 53 yards on 14 attempts. He did have a touchdown. McMillan, 5 receptions for 60 yards. He led the team. One bright spot for this Panthers team, they did only have one penalty. So very disciplined. They did a very good job of staying focused and getting, the most part, the job done. I mean, not really, but, it's always good when you don't have many penalties. They're going to be taking on their division rival Falcons, who are coming off a loss to the Colts in Berlin. Michael Penix, he was 12 for 28, 177 yards, one touchdown, one fumble early in the game that gave the Colts great field position. Bijan Robinson, he had 17 attempts for 84 yards. Algier, 57 yards and 2 tutties. Drake London led the team in receiving 6 receptions for 104 yards and 1 touchdown. Bijan, Bijan, I'm not, he looks really, really good. I just don't think I'm just not sold on him. I don't know if it's just me. I think it's just me. They did have an interception and a forced fumble, which is great on defense. The unfortunate thing is they allowed 323 rushing yards in total on the ground to the Colts. You can't win like that, and JT had 244 of those yards alone. This was another one that I kind of struggled with, which was kind of a coin flip for me. I'm going to go with the Falcons to bounce back. I think Bijan can bounce back a little bit. I could see him having over 100 yards. Algier, I could see him having over 100 yards. My main concern with the Falcons is I just don't know. I don't trust Penix yet. He looks good here and there, but there are still some things I think he needs to tweak. I am going to go with the Falcons. I do think that their defense is better than the Panthers, so I'm going to roll with the Falcons. I think it'll be a close game, but Falcons come out on top. All right, then we will head to Buffalo for a matchup between the Buccaneers and the Bills. The Buccaneers coming off a close, tough loss to the Patriots at home, 28-23. Baker Mayfield, 273 yards, 3 touchdown passes, and he threw the ball 43 times. Tucker led the team in rushing yards with 53. Egbuka, he led the team in receiving yards. He continues to be a stud. 6 receptions, 115 yards and a tutty. Johnson, 4 receptions, 42 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Buccaneers were 5 of 13 on third down. Couple of mistakes by the Patriots kept the Buccaneers in that game, but the Patriots were just too explosive for the Buccaneers to overcome. They'll be taking on the Bills, who are feeling a little low. Got whooped by a divisional opponent who had looked bad all season. Josh Allen, 28 of 40, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times. He threw a pick in the end zone late in that game. James Cook held to only 53 yards on the ground, so the Finns figuring out that if they can contain him, the Bills are beatable. Shakir, he had 7 receptions for 58 yards. Coleman and Halls both had tutties. Unfortunately, Josh Allen and James Cook both had 2 pivotal fumbles. The Bills did not look good. They had come out of their bye week swinging. They were looking really, really good. And they got brought back down to earth. Unfortunately for the Bills, this has been something that has been happening for them over the past 4 or 5 years, where they look elite, they look really, really good, and then they crap the bed. But I think this will be a close game. I think this is going to be a very, very good game. I'm going to roll with the Bills here. to bounce back. The Buccaneers still dealing with a lot of injuries. I think it'll be close, but I'm going to go with the Bills. And maybe the only reason why I'm going to go with the Bills is because it is in Buffalo. That obviously gives them a advantage all the time. So I'm going to go with Buffalo to take down the Buccaneers. All right. Then we got the Bolts taking on the Jags. The Bolts coming off a big win on Sunday Night Football over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Herbert, 20 of 33, 220 yards and a tutty. Vidal, 25 attempts for 95 yards and a touchdown. Ladd McConkey, 4 receptions, 105 yards and a touchdown. Jackson and Mickens both had an interception. On their defense, Dicker the kicker, 3 of 4 on field goal attempts. Highlight of the night, Keenan Allen passes Antonio Gates for the most receptions in franchise history for the Chargers. So congratulations to Keenan Allen. Just another achievement in a Hall of Fame career. Cool thing, Antonio Gates was in attendance. He still does stuff with the Chargers. So that's cool to see. Keenan Allen did pass that record. He only had 2 receptions for 19 yards. But it was cool. It was right near the end of the game. It was kind of a pot pass from Herbert. Keenan kind of ran in front of him, got the little pass, and went and got it. So congratulations to him. The defense was a big part for the Bolts against the Steelers. They were able to contain Warren and make Rodgers completely uncomfortable. We'll get into all that when we talk about the Steelers, but I was watching that game and woof, woof. They'll be taking on the Jags. The Jags blew it, and that's the nice way to say what happened to the Jags. They blew it. They allowed 26 points in the fourth quarter to the Houston Texans and took a really bad L. T-Law, 13 of 23, 158 yards passing, 1 tutty, 1 interception. He was sacked 5 times and fumbled once. ETN, 58 yards and a tutty. Myers, 3 receptions, 41 yards. Washington had a touchdown and a punt return touchdown. 4-11 on third down for the Jacksonville offense, and a total of 9 penalties. I don't get the Jags, man. The Jags upset me because they had that big win on Monday Night Football against the Chiefs, and they have looked like garbage since. Even the win against the Raiders, isn't really much to show for. I think, unfortunately, I just think that it might be the end of the road for T-Law in Jacksonville. I'm just not seeing enough from him, and that sucks. That really sucks. I just don't think he's the guy in Jacksonville. I think maybe he could go somewhere else and be more successful, but I'm just not seeing it for him in Jacksonville. I'm going to roll with the Bolts here. I think that it's easy to make T-Law uncomfortable, and if the Bolts defense plays anything like they did on Sunday night, I think this is all Chargers. So Chargers get the win. Then we have an NFC North battle in Minnesota. The Bears are taking on the purple incarnation of Satan, the Vikings. The Bears had another fourth quarter comeback. They keep doing it. I don't know. Caleb Williams somehow has got ice in his veins. You can't deny it. He looked good. 20 of 36, 200 total, 220 passing yards, 1 touchdown, took no sacks. He also did it with his legs. He had another rushing touchdown. Swift led the team in rushing, 12 attempts for 80 yards. Maganai, he had 1 rushing touchdown. Rome Odunze, 6 receptions for 86 yards and a touchdown. I like how Rome chooses to play really, really well. When I take him out of my fantasy lineup and put him on the bench, then he decides to go well. he might just know that I'm a Packer fan, and that's just how he wants to do it. That's fine. 3 of 11 on third down, so that's not great. Only one penalty, so that's good. 14 points in the fourth quarter to mount that comeback against the Giants. Of course, Jackson Dart going out of that game with a concussion, went into concussion protocol, and Russell Wilson came out. So the second Russell Wilson got trotted out there, you knew, the Bears are going to win this one. Bears won the last 6 of 7 games, and they are now sitting atop the Packers in second place in the NFC North. So that sucks. But congratulations to the Bears. They're looking good. They're getting it done. They're getting it done. At the very least, I know as a Packer fan, I hate to see it, but I can't deny what I'm seeing. The Bears are getting it done in close games, and that's all that matters. They're going to be taking on the Vikings, the incarnation of evil itself. The Vikings are coming off a loss to the Baltimore Ravens at home. J.J. McCarthy, 20 of 42, 248 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Naylor, 5 receptions, 124 yards and a tutty. Jefferson, only 37 yards. Jonesy got in the end zone, so good for him. The Vikings were 3 of 14 on third down, 2 of 5 on fourth down, and a total of 13 penalties for 102 yards. What is going on? The Vikings, they come off a really good game. They took down the Blue Kitties, and then they come out in Baltimore, a team that, of course, Baltimore is kind of rising right now that Lamar is back. I don't know. I'm confused about the Vikings. I mean, as I am every team, but I'm confused about the Vikings in so much as I don't know if they're good or if they're trash. They have the weapons, but they have a quarterback who needs to figure it out. KOC is a great coach, so I do expect them to figure it out at some point. Unfortunately, that did not happen on Sunday, and I don't think it's going to happen this coming Sunday. Also, side note, if Justin Jefferson ever wants to leave that crap hole where he doesn't want to waste his career, we need wide receivers right now, so he could come over to Green Bay. I'd appreciate that. I'm going to go with the Bears here. I think their offense looks way, way better. Their defense, for the most part, looks better. I think it's a close divisional matchup. You never know how divisional matchups are going to go, but I'm taking the Bears. All right, then we have a matchup in the AFC North. The Cincinnati Bengals are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, this time in Pittsburgh. The Bengals coming off a bye, getting some much-needed rest. The last time we saw the Bengals, it was that high-scoring, close matchup against the Bears. Unfortunately for them, they've lost 6 of the last 7 games. Joe Burrow returned to practice today or yesterday. Either way, he's back in practice, so his window to be activated has now opened up. I'm kind of surprised to see Burrow back already. Maybe he just saw Flacco going off, and he's like, oh, I should probably go back so I'm able to keep my job. Let's see here. They won the first meeting on Thursday Night Football. They beat the Steelers. And I believe that was Flacco's first game as a Bengal. Jamar Chase, he leads the league in receptions with 76. And, leads the league in receptions at 76 and is second in the league in receiving yards with 831. He trails only JSN, who has like 200 more receiving yards than him. That's pretty much all I have on the Bengals. Of course, taking on their rival, the Steelers, who just looked laughable in a couple points of that Sunday Night Football game against the Bolts. Aaron Rodgers, 16 of 31, 161 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, although I'm not going to fault him for that second interception. It bounced off the guy's arms, and the Bolts defender was just in the right place at the right time. Sacked 3 times. He had a lot of passes that were really high, which is very uncharacteristic of Aaron to overthrow people. That was strange. He just looked bad. 50.6 passer rating for Aaron Rodgers. Easily his worst game of the season. Warren, 14 attempts, 70 yards on the ground. Metcalf, 3 receptions for 35 yards. Wilson, he had a garbage time touchdown. Williams fumbled. Their defense did sack Herbert 5 times. But again, third down was, again, one of the biggest problems the Steelers have had all season. Third down. 2 of 11 on third, 0 for 1 on fourth. And only 22 minutes in time of possession. So, this game I really didn't struggle too much with. I'm going to give it to the Bengals. Coming off a bye, they're well rested, and the Steelers kind of just demoralized right now. Of course, I picked the Steelers to win the last game, and the Bengals came out and looked amazing. So we'll see, but I'm going to roll with the Bengals to get the win and sweep the Steelers. All right. Then we have the Green Bay Packers taking on the New York Giants. I'm not going to get too much into the Packer game. If you want to see it, you can watch my post game. But the Packers offense looked abysmal. The Packers defense looked amazing. The Packers, for the second straight week, struggled on offense in the worst possible ways. Jordan Love, 20 of 36, 176 yards, no touchdowns. It's now the second straight game he's thrown no touchdowns. He fumbled the ball once. Josh Jacobs, 21 attempts on the ground, 74 yards and a touchdown. He also had 33 receiving yards. Christian Watson, 2 receptions for 45 yards. He only had 4 targets, which I don't understand that. He should be getting like 10 targets a game. Wicks, he returned from injury. It was nice to see him back on the field. He had 4 receptions for 38 yards. Dobbs only had 1 reception. He left the game with a chest injury. Elton Jenkins also left that game. Unfortunately, he's probably done for the year as a fracture in his lower leg. So that's tough. Really big loss for the Packers. The wide receivers were dropping the ball. 4 penalties. Those penalties came at crucial times where they ruined big gains. They just look bad. The Packers' offense looked horrible for the second straight week. But the defense looked spectacular. The pressure was there. Micah Parsons was all over it. Hurts never went down, mostly because he's one of the most elusive quarterbacks in the league outside of Lamar Jackson. But the pressure was great. The secondary was great except for one drive where Evan Williams allowed Devontae Smith to get a 36-yard touchdown, which was a big difference in this game. Looking at practicing today, Golden did practice. Dobbs was a full participant in practice coming off that chest injury, so that was good to see. Coop was on there. He was limited. A lot of players limited. Hobbs and LVN, of course, also still not practicing. It did come out today that the Packers will be wearing their green home jerseys on the road, so Giants probably wearing their whites. I also want to make another point here. Matt LaFleur in his press conference today just locking down Brandon McManus is going to be the kicker on Sunday. McManus still dealing with an injury. He was going to try a 64-yarder to tie the game at the end of the Monday Night Football game, and he totally shanked it. Not saying he would have hit it anyway, but Matt LaFleur sticking with McManus. An injured kicker when we have a fully healthy kicker in street clothes. What are we doing? What are we doing? Matt LaFleur also came out and said he's not going to give up play calling duties. So, I guess no change. The Giants, they're coming off a loss to Chicago where they kind of blew it in the fourth quarter. Jackson Dart, 19 of 24, 242 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He did fumble the ball once, sacked twice, went into concussion protocol late in that game. Russell Wilson came out, threw 7 passes, hit 3 of them, 45 yards. He was sacked twice. Tracy Jr., 14 attempts on the ground, 71 yards. Dart had 2 rushing touchdowns. Slayton, 4 receptions for 89 yards. He did not participate in practice today, so I don't know how that's going to look. If he's going to go on Sunday, we'll know more, obviously, tomorrow. The Giants were 1 for 4 on 4th down in that game. Apparently it was bad enough for the Giants. They fired Brian Daboll on Monday morning. So he is no longer in charge. The interim head coach, whose name is now escaping my mind, did come out and pretty much say that Jameis Winston will be starting, which you never know with Jameis Winston. You do know that he can air it out. He can throw picks, he can throw touchdowns. You just never know which Jameis we are going to get. Packers need to win this game. I cannot make that any more clearer. The Green Bay Packers, this is a must-win. They have to come out and they have to look great. They have to come out and they have to look good. They got to get this offense, this sluggish, poor offense locked down. You have to get it locked down now. Because after the Giants, the Packers have to play the Vikings, the Blue Kitties in Detroit on Thanksgiving, and then the Bears. So, and then after that, I think they play the Broncos. So it's going to be, we're getting into the gauntlet now. And the Packers, you've got to get it right and get it right now. I hope to see, hopefully it's not the same old crap heading out there to where the defense knows what we're going to run when they're going to run it. I'd like to see some bootlegs for Jordan, get him some early completions, get him in a rhythm. I'm going to go with the Packers here to get the dub in MetLife. Hopefully that's what happens. Because if the Packers lose to the Giants, don't know how I'm going to react in the postgame. You might just see a very angry Taylor on Sunday. So, go Pack, go. All right. Then we have the Texans taking on the Titans in an AFC South matchup. The Texans coming off a big win over the Jags, 26 points in the fourth quarter. Davis Mills, 27 of 45, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. He was sacked only twice. Marks led the team in rushing yards, 63 yards, 1 touchdown. Davis Mills also had a rushing touchdown. Nico Collins, 7 receptions, 136 yards. Schultz had a touchdown. Higgins had a touchdown. 11 penalties in total for this Houston team. That's not great. 5 sacks and 2 tutties for the defense. So the Texans looking good in the fourth quarter. Not entirely sure if I'm sold on them just yet, of course. The Texans had high hopes this year. Of course, C.J. Stroud is still out We'll see if he comes back this week. But it should be an easy matchup because they're playing the 1-8 Titans. The Titans coming off a bye, so you never know. I don't have much written down for the Titans because there's not much to be said. They have 4 straight losses right now. Cam Ward, the rookie for the season, he has 1,700 yards, 1,760 to be exact, 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL with 38 times. He's been brought down, and they have statistically the worst offense in the NFL. So this should be an easy win for the Texans. I'm going to go with the Texans. Of course, it's a divisional matchup, so you never know, but should be a pretty easy win for the Texans. All right, then we have an NFC West matchup between the Niners and the Cards. The Niners coming off a blowout loss to the Rams. Actually, both of these teams coming off blowout losses to their division rival. So the Niners got blown out by the Rams. Mac Jones, 33 of 34 or 39. It's pretty good. 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. He wasn't sacked at all. George Kittle, 9 receptions on 9 targets, so 100% accuracy on him for 84 yards on a touchdown. And that 1 touchdown was a pretty cool toe tap where he kind of tapped the sideline there and then kind of extended the ball. It was a pretty nice touchdown. Shout out Kittle. That's pretty great. Jennings, 6 receptions, 71 yards and a tutty. Farrell had 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately for the Niners, they allowed Matthew Stafford to go off and throw 4 touchdowns. 3 of 8 on 3rd down, 1 of 3 on 4th down. Big thing for the Niners this week, Kyle Shanahan came out and said that it's a possibility that Purdy could return this week. Now, I know he said that before, earlier this season, so we'll see. I don't know if... I'm assuming if Purdy is 100%, they're going to roll with Purdy, even though they've had success with Mac. The reason they're going to roll with Purdy is you're paying him a crap load of money, so you don't want him sitting on the bench. So if Purdy's ready to go, Purdy's going to play. I'm just not sold on Purdy being ready to go. They're going to take on the Cards, who got blown out by the Seahawks. Jacoby Brissett, 22 of 44, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, sacked 5 times, 2 fumbles. Both of those fumbles were ran back for defensive touchdowns, both by the same guy. Kyler Murray is now on IR. DeMarco, he only ran the ball 4 times with 64 yards on the ground. Dorton, he had a rushing touchdown. McBride, 9 receptions, 127 yards, and a touchdown. Marvin Harrison Jr., 3 receptions, 33 yards, and a touchdown. He had surgery this week, so he's probably out for Sunday at the very least. Hopefully it's just 1 game. I like Harrison. I think he's playing very, very well. 6 of 16 on 3rd down and 2 for 5 on 4th down. Divisional matchup, I'll say it again. I've said it 18 billion times already in this video. Divisional matchups, never know how they're going to go, but I'm pretty confident in the Niners. If they could get CMC going, again, I think that they'll win. And I just noticed I missed an entire line of stats for the Niners, so I'll point that out quick. For the Niners, Robinson Jr., he had 8 attempts, 41 yards, and a touchdown. CMC held to 30 yards on the ground, but he did have 66 receiving yards through the air. So, missed that whole stat line, so sorry about that. But I'm going to go with the Niners here. I think they're overall just better. So, Niners win. Then you have the game of the week, in my opinion, personally, and I'm pretty sure everybody else sees this as a game of the week. The Seattle Sea Chickens at 7-2 taking on the LA Rams, who also sit at 7-2. The two Titans in the NFC West. This should be a good one. Both of these teams, obviously, like I said earlier, blew out their opponents, their division rivals. Sam Darnold, 10 of 12, 178 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Charbonnet, 14 attempts for 83 yards and a touchdown. Holani also had a rushing touchdown. JSN, 5 receptions, 93 yards and a touchdown. DeMarcus Lawrence, two fumble recovery touchdowns, which is hilarious. And both of those fumbles were also both forced by Knight. So Knight and Lawrence twice. So that's cool. 4th straight win for the Sea Chickens. Their offense wasn't as on fire as it has been, but of course those 2 big defensive touchdowns ran it up for them. So Sea Chickens are looking good, but do they look as good as the Rams? The Rams also on a 4-game winning streak. Matthew Stafford blowing out the Niners. 24 for 36, 280 yards, 4 touchdowns. He is the first quarterback in NFL history to throw 4 touchdowns, no interceptions in 3 straight games. I said it earlier, Matthew Stafford is the only other guy in the running for MVP who's not Jonathan Taylor. Let's see here. Kyron Williams, 14 attempts, 73 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Devontae Adams, he led the team in receiving yards for 77 on 6 receptions and a touchdown. He left the game with an injury, but Sean McVay came out today and said that he expects Tay to play. He's pretty confident that Tay said he'll be able to play, so he's going to roll with that. So that's good. Puka Nacua, 5 receptions, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Parkinson and Allen also both had touchdowns. 0 penalties for the Rams. So very disciplined, very clean football by the Rams. I'm going to go with the Rams here. I know both of these teams, 7-2, both of these offenses are dangerous. Both of these defenses are legit. But I do think the Rams are just slightly better. This should be a fun one. I can't wait for this one. This one should be fun. I don't think I'll be able to watch it because the Packer game will be on. But this one I think should have been flexed to Sunday Night Football. Or Monday Night Football. Should have been Monday Night Football, looking at what Monday Night Football is. We'll get to that. But game of the week, Sea Chickens versus Rams. I'm going with the Rams to get the dub. All right, then we have an AFC North matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens, 3 straight wins. They took down the Vikings. Lamar Jackson, 17 of 24, 176 yards, 1 tutty. Nothing too flashy. The defense played very, very well. King Henry, 20 attempts for 75 yards. He has now surpassed his high school overall, his overall rushing total in high school. He's now surpassed. It took him 10 years to do it. But of course, the NFL is different than high school, so that's cool. Zay Flowers, 4 receptions, 74 yards. Mark Andrews, he had 3 receptions, 14 yards, and a tutty, so nice to see Mark Andrews getting involved. 3 takeaways for the Baltimore defense. And with this dub, Lamar Jackson has now gotten to 100 regular season wins, so congratulations, Lamar. This Baltimore team is heating up. They're looking good. The defense looks good. The offense looks great. They'll be taking on the Browns, who are coming off a loss to the Jets. Dylan Gabriel, 17 of 32, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 6 times. He also had 54 rushing yards, so the young guy moving around with his legs. Judkins led the team in rushing yards, 22 attempts for 75 yards. Jerry Jeudy, 6 receptions, 78 yards, and a tutty. The 1 touchdown was a great pass by Gabriel. It looked real nice. Njoku, he had 21 receiving yards and a touchdown. Unfortunately for the Browns, they allowed 2 special teams touchdowns. So that was the big difference in that game. I'm going to roll with the Ravens here. The Ravens are looking hot, looking real good, and the Browns are trying to figure it out with Dillon Gabriel. I wouldn't be surprised later on during the season, depending on how Gabriel looks. I wouldn't be shocked if we're going to see. I wouldn't be shocked to see Shedeur Sanders at some point during this season, especially if the Browns just keep looking as bad as they do. And that's coming from the Packer fan who lost to the Browns. I can't believe we lost to the Browns. But anyway, then we have an AFC West matchup. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Denver Broncos, of Horsies, as I like to call them. The Chiefs coming off a bye. Last time we saw the Chiefs, they had that loss to the Bills. Mahomes was 15 of 34 in that game, 250 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Mahomes not looking like prime Mahomes the last time we saw him. Hunt, he had 49 yards and a touchdown. Rashee Rice also had a rushing touchdown. Pointing out here that Pacheco is still not practicing. So the bye week wasn't enough, but hopefully we'll see him out there soon. The Chiefs are sitting at 5-4. Not where we thought we'd see them at this point in the season. But the Chiefs is still the Chiefs, so I'm not 100% sold on it just yet. They'll be taking on the Broncos, who's are coming off a... they played football on Thursday. They took down the Raiders 10-7 in a really boring game. Bo Nix, 16 of 28, 150 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. J.K. Dobbins, 18 attempts, 77 yards. Bryant, he had 1 reception for 43 yards. Franklin, 5 receptions, 40 yards, and a tutty. They got 6 sacks on Geno. 10 first downs, 5 of 15 on third down, 11 penalties on this Broncos team. But they got their 7th straight win, so that's all that matters. The Broncos are definitely one of those teams where you just don't know which one's going to show up. You could have a Broncos team that shows up like they did here and like they did against the Jets, or you could have a Broncos team that shows up like they did against the Bengals or the Cowboys. I'm hoping that the Broncos team that shows up on Sunday is that team that took down the Bengals and the Cowboys. Great defense, great offense, take down the Chiefs, hit them hard, and bring them to 5-5 because that's what everybody wants to see. I'm going to go with the Horsies here. I just think they're a better team than the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are the 3rd best team in the AFC West. I think that's very, very clear. So I'm going to go with the Horsies to get the dub on Sunday. All right, then we have Sunday Night Football, which should be a fun matchup between the Blue Kitties and the Philadelphia Eagles. I think this game is the matchup that we all want to see right now. Arguably, 2 of the best teams in the NFC. Blue Kitties getting some revenge against the Commies on Sunday. They blew them out. Jared Goff, 25 of 33, 320 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Gibbs, he had 15 attempts, 142 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Montgomery, 15 attempts, 71 yards. Williams, he had 6 receptions for 119 yards and a tutty. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 5 receptions, 58 yards and a touchdown. Gibbs also had 3 receptions, 30 yards and a tutty. Slime Daddy Dan Campbell took over play calling duties. Obviously, they didn't look great the week prior in that loss against the Vikings. But the Blue Kitties, I still believe, have one of the most fun offenses to watch. They are so good. And as a Packer fan, it sucks to see, but as a fan of football, you'll love to see it. They're fun, they're explosive, and they get it done. And they're going to be taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, who are coming off a close win in Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers. The Eagles didn't look their best. Their defense looked really, really good, and their offense looked Jalen Hurts, 15 of 26, 153 yards, and a tutty. He had a fumble, which was a peanut punch by Edgerrin Cooper. He was not sacked at all. He evaded the pass rush of Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary, all night long. Barkley, 22 attempts for 60 yards. Devontae Smith was the leading receiver. 4 receptions for 64 yards, or 69 yards, giggity, and a tutty over Evan Williams late in that game. Dallas Goedert, 4 receptions, 43 yards. They got to Jordan Love 3 times. Had two forced fumbles, one Jordan's fault, and one on Josh Jacobs real late in that game on the 4th and 1, where they stopped him anyway. But Jacobs did also fumble. 7 of 16 on 3rd down, 0 of 2 on 4th down, and 7 penalties. The Eagles did not look great. They should have lost that game if the Packers had a somewhat competent offense, which they didn't. But the Eagles' defense looked great. I'm excited to see this Blue Kitty offense against this Eagles defense. But the Eagles' offense is going to need to put up points because the Blue Kitties can put it up, man. They can put up the points. I'm going to go with the Blue Kitties here. I think it is a very, very good game. High scoring is what I want to see. And let's see which team is the best team in the NFC. I think it's still the Blue Kitties. So, Blue Kitties get the dub on Sunday Night Football. And then we have Monday Night Football. The Cowboys and the Raiders. Excellent primetime football here. The Cowboys coming off a bye. The last time we saw the Cowboys, it was Monday Night Football against the Cardinals. I do want to also say now, my thoughts and prayers are with Marshawn Nealon's family. He had a touchdown on Monday night in his last game. Mental health is so important, especially to these players. Very, very sad to see. My heart goes out to his family and the Dallas Cowboys organization. Very tough loss. I'm wearing Jair's jersey today because he came out and told the Eagles that he was going to step away from football to focus on himself physically and mentally. So hopefully he gets help for anything he's struggling with. I wanted to wear his jersey to support him. I love Jair Alexander. He's always going to be a Packer to me. So I just wanted to make that point before I really get into this game. Mental health is important. It's important to take care of yourself and get help if you need it. There are people out there that care about you, and they want to see you get help. So reach out. There's always somebody there who cares about you. So with all that said, Cowboys, their defense isn't good and their offense is mid. They lost to the Cardinals. Prescott, 24 of 34, 250 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Williams, he had 83 yards on the ground. CD, 7 receptions, 85 yards. Let's see here. 5 of 12 on 3rd down, 0 for 3 on 4th down. Back-to-back losses for this Cowboys team. I'm disappointed in the Cowboys. I thought they were going to be better this year. Of course, we're still only halfway through the season, but they're going to be taking. I'm going to go with the Cowboys here. It should be an easy win because they're taking on the Raiders, who are coming off that stink fest against the Broncos on Thursday Night Football. Geno Smith in that game on Thursday night, 16 of 26, 143 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 6 times. Genty, he had 60 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Lockett, 5 receptions, 44 yards. Bowers had 1 reception for 31 yards. 4 of 15 on third down. 0 for 1 on fourth down. 11 penalties for 83 yards. 3 straight losses for the Raiders. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cowboys here. I think the Cowboys' defense is horrendous, but I think they should be able to handle the Raiders. And I do think that after the bye week, we should see this offense look a lot better. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys to get the win on Monday Night Football in Vegas. So that wraps it up. That's all the games for Week 11. I appreciate you guys watching. If you stuck around for the whole video, I know I ramble a lot, but I appreciate it. Hopefully, I will be a very happy Taylor on Sunday, so you can join me and check out the post game on Sunday. Hopefully, it'll be good. But I appreciate you guys watching. Let's have a great weekend of football, and go Pack Go. Have a good night.